Today we're installing the Madjax Ultimate Plus light kit designed for the EZ-GO RXV. We have two different kits for this. You have a 2008 to 15 model and a 2016 and up model. The installation instructions are identical. With the kits, you'll get your headlights, your 2008 to 2015 taillights, or your 2016 and up taillights, your harness, 48 to 12 volt converter, an electric brake switch, and a gas brake switch for those models, a horn, USB charging station harness, turn signal assembly, your harness cover for your turn signal, and your turn signal harness. Before we begin, I want to remind you to set the cart into tow mode, turn the key switch off, and engage the parking brake. Now let's get started. Before we run our new light kit harness, I'm going to go over some of the connections for you. Up at the very front of the harness, you'll notice a 3-pin red and 3-pin white connector with female bullet connectors attached. These go to your headlights. Red goes to the passenger side. Right off of that, you'll notice a purple and black female spade connector. This goes to your horn. Down a little further, you'll notice a male 12-pin connector. This goes to your relay harness. Next, you'll notice a red, black, and blue wire. The blue wire will go to the purple wire on the relay harness. The black and red are not used. Then you'll see a fuse with a 2-pin connector. This goes to your USB port harness and USB. Towards the center of the harness, you'll notice a red, black, and yellow wire. The red and yellow wires go to your brake switch. The black is not used. Next, you'll see a 2-pin connection. This is for your battery hookups. And then finally, you'll see 2 more 3-pin connections, one red, one white. This is for your tail lights. Passenger side has the red connector. Now we're going to run our harness down the driver's side of our cart. You're going to feed the tail lights and the battery hookups into the battery well and leave them for now. We're going to take the front of our harness and feed it up into the cow area, but do not secure the harness yet. As you can see on this cart, we already have pre-installed headlights. To take these out, we're going to push down on the tabs located on the back side of the light and disconnect it from the harness. If you already have factory headlight holes cut out, skip this next step. Now we're going to cut out our headlight template. You'll notice on the template, the body line marked here. We're going to trim along this line. You can also flip it over for the passenger side, which we'll do here in a second. You want to cut out the center section for the headlight and also cut out along the top here. This is going to help us align the template on the front cow. Even though we already have the holes cut out from the factory headlights, we're still going to show you how to install the template to the cow. You'll notice here it says turn over for the passenger side. Since we're on the passenger side, we're going to use the top side of the template and align it with the curve here of the front cow. And you also want to align the bottom up with the bottom of the cow. Once you have the template in place, tape it off. Now you're going to use a marking pen, trace the inside of the cutout. Then you're going to use a cutting tool and safety glasses and cut out your headlight hole. You want to go to the inside of your marked line because you can always take a little more out if needed. Then we're going to repeat this same process on the other side. Now that you've taken out your factory headlights or cut out your new hole, we're going to attach the headlight to the harness. You're going to take the passenger side light. This is the one with the red 3-pin connector here, and attach it to the red 3-pin connector on the front harness that we shoved into the cow area earlier. You'll also notice some extra wires on the back side of the light. You're going to take the 2 male bullet connectors from the back side of the headlight and attach it to the female bullet connectors from the harness. You're going to simply match the gray to the gray and the red and white to the red and white. The 2 female bullet connectors from the headlight will not be used. Now we're going to insert the headlight top end into the cow first and then snap the bottom side in. You want to make sure that the tabs on the back side of the headlight are onto the back side of the cow good and snug. We're going to repeat this process on the other side. Now we're going to attach our horn to the purple and black wires at the front of our harness. It doesn't matter which wire goes to which tab. Then using a self-tapping screw, we're going to attach the horn with the bracket here to the front side of the cart. Moving to the back of the cart, as you can see, we already have factory tail lights. We're going to go ahead and take those out. If you have factory lights installed, you can skip this next step. Next, we're going to trim out the template for our tail light. This is an older model RXV. So we have a template that looks like this. We're going to trim out the outer edges and then take out the center. You'll also notice down here at the bottom, it says turn over for the driver's side. If you have a newer RXV, your taillight template will look like this. Just follow the cut lines. Also take note the curve of the rear body, the body edge markings here. You also want to cut out for the taillight itself. And then last thing is to make sure you turn it over for the passenger side. Now we're going to go ahead and cut out our template. With your template cut out, we're going to flip the template over as stated here. For the driver's side, you're going to align this side up with the inside of the bag well on the body. The bottom corner here will go to the plastic trim on the bumper, and this bottom edge will go along the bumper. Once the template's in place, we're going to tape off our template. You'll notice the hole here is in a different place. It doesn't matter. That's just from the factory lights. Where you're going to put it here is just fine. Once you have your template in place, you're going to take a marking pen, mark out the inside of your light hole here. Using a cutting tool and your safety glasses, you're going to cut out to the inside of your marked line and repeat this on the other side. Before we attach our tail lights, we're going to feed our tail light harnesses to the back of the cart. Starting here on the driver's side, you want to find the 3-pin connector and then feed it over the tire well and to the tail light. Then you're going to take the 3-pin red connector for the tail lights on the passenger side, feed it around the back of the battery pack and over the passenger side tire well. Now that you have your new hole cut out, or using your factory hole, you're going to pull the harness through the hole and attach your tail light, white for the driver's side. Now using the hardware supplied, whether you have an older model RXV like we do or a newer model RXV, go ahead and secure the tail light to the rear body. Repeat this on the other side. Next thing we're going to do is remove and retain the 4 torque screws that hold on the front dash. Pop the dash free and temporarily disconnect the key switch and the battery gauge. We're also going to pop out our cup holder. You're just going to pull up on the front edge and pop it free. Set that out of the way. Before we install the turn signal indicator, we want to go over some of the functions. You'll notice on the outside here, we have our horn button. Up and down on the lever works the turn signals. Here on the very outside, the first switch here turns on your daytime run lights. The second will turn on the daytime run lights plus your front headlights. If you pull the lever back towards you till it clicks, you now have high beams. To turn those off, you just simply click it again. You also notice the inside ring here has 2 additional light settings. This feature is for fog lights or small light bars. This will help keep your dash panel clear of extra switches. Now we're going to loosen up the screws on the clamps on the back side of our turn indicator and then feed it over the column. I don't want you to fully tighten this yet. We're just going to secure it to the column so it doesn't slide. We're going to gauge how much slack we need in our harness. We're going to come in on the bottom side of our cup holder mount, but we want to come in back past the cup holders. So we're going to take a cutting tool and our safety glasses, and we're going to cut out a hole big enough for our 12-pin connector to come in through the bottom side. Again, you want to double check and make sure that you're clear of your cup holders so that when you reattach your cup holders, the harness does not hit. At this point, we're going to pull the rest of our harness up through the back of the dash port nearest the cowl. You want to make sure that you leave your brake harness hookups near the brake pedal assembly underneath the cart. Before we attach our relay harness, I want to go through the connections for you. You'll notice two 12-pin connectors on each side. The 12-pin connector that's over here by itself will go to the new light kit harness. The 12-pin on the opposite side will go to your indicator. You'll also notice you have a new hazard switch here. You'll also notice there's two female bullet connectors and a male bullet connector here. This is for the fog lights or LED light bars on the auxiliary switch for your indicator. And you'll also see a purple wire. This wire will attach to your new light kit harness. Now we can take our turn signal harness and attach it to our light kit harness and then to our turn signal 12-pin as well. Once the 12 pins are attached, we're going to come back and adjust our indicator. Once you get the slack out of the harness, go ahead and tighten up the screws on the back side. You want all 4 bolts to be equally tightened. Then we can attach our cover to the back side. And finally, we can cover up our harness on our column, insert the harness into the cover, and then snap it onto your steering column. Now you're going to take the purple wire that's located right next to your hazard switch and attach it to the blue wire here. You'll also notice the wiring hookups for your 2-position auxiliary switch located on your indicator. As you can see here, it has a noted first position and a second position. This is where the 2 hot wires for your lights will go. Both negative ground wires will go to this one single negative fog marked here. To install our hazard switch, you want to take the black, blue, and yellow off the back side of the switch, but you also want to notice that the black is located directly behind the LED light. The blue is on the center and the yellow is on the top. We're going to take these 3 off and unscrew the nut on the back side of the switch. Then using a 15-30 seconds drill bit, we're going to drill a hole in our dash for our hazard switch. When you find your spot, just make sure that the area is free of obstructions on the back side. Make sure you use safety glasses. You're going to feed the hazard switch into your new hole and then secure with the nut we removed earlier. Now we're going to reattach the black, blue, and yellow wires on the back side of the indicator, just like we had them. Black on the bottom, opposite the LED, blue in the middle, and yellow on the top. Our last step at this point is to install our USB charging port. You're going to find the 2-pin that has the fuse block here on the back side of it. We're going to plug in our harness. On this particular cart, we're going to install the USB charging port station up here by the key switch. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall our cup holder. If you're going to put it up here on the front dash, you can follow the same steps as we do. To install the USB port, you have 2 options. You can use a 1 1/8 paddle bit, or you can follow our steps and take the nut off the back side and use the nut as your template. What you're going to do is you're going to put it in the location that you want it. You're going to mark the inside with a pin, and then using a cutting tool and your safety glasses, trim the hole out. Make sure you go to the inside of the line and then slowly work away as you need it until it fits. Now we're going to secure it in place with the nut. Finally, you'll notice on the back side a positive and negative symbol. The positive will be your red, the negative will be your black. Last thing we're going to do is reattach our key switch and our battery meter, and then secure using the torque screws we removed earlier. To access our brake assembly, first thing we're going to do is take off our side skirts. You want to remove and retain the 5 screws that hold on the side skirts. Do the same thing on the other side. Then remove your floor mat and any push rivets holding it in place. Next, we're going to take off the brake access panels. Whether you're installing this on an electric or an RXV gas cart, these steps are very similar. You may notice that your brake assembly doesn't look like ours here, but if you're installing it for a gas, we'll talk about that more at the end of these steps. For electric carts, your brake switch is going to mount on the driver's side of the cart here at the back side of the pedal. We're going to take out the cross member here as well as this front bolt. Some models, you have to take out both bolts here to remove the cross member temporarily. So what we're looking for here is to mount our brake switch in the two holes where we remove the bolts. On this switch, what you want to have is the switch engaged at all times so that when you press in the brake pad, you hear the click, thus releasing the switch and turning on your brake lights. So when you leave the pedal resting, you should have a click. When you press it, you should get another click. If you have that, go ahead and reattach your cross members and tighten your bolts. We're going to come back and check this again when we have our converter hooked up. Next thing you want to do is go under the cart and feed your brake pedal hookups into the brake access and attach your bullet connectors. The black spade connector is not used. We're going to come back later and secure this harness safely to the cart. For gas models, the brake switch will actually go to the driver's side but offset to the front of the cart. When you push the brake pedal in, you will engage the switch and hear the click. So this is going to work opposite from the electric. So it'll rest like this. When you press the brake pedal in, it'll hit the button, thus turning your lights on. To hook up our converter, what you're going to do is use a multimeter to find your main 48 positive and negative voltage. On this cart, it's over here on the passenger side. Once you have your main positive and negative identified, you're going to attach your battery terminal hookups. The red will go to the 48 volt positive, the black will go to the negative. Now we're going to attach our converter to a flat metal surface. We're going to attach it right here to the battery hold down using the self-tapping screw. Now you can attach the red and black from your converter to the red and black hookups. You may notice a small pop. That's totally fine. Now you want to grab your 2-pin from your main light kit harness, pull it back into the battery box, and attach it to the black and yellow on your converter. At this point, you can go ahead and secure all your loose harness wires to the cart. Now that we have power to our harness, you're going to check your brakes to make sure they come on when the brake pedal is pushed. If you're not getting lights for some reason, you can adjust the switch here by using the slotted holes on the top side until your brakes come on when the pedal's pushed. If everything's good, go ahead and secure your brake harness and then reattach your pedal assembly covers and your floor mat. And also reattach your side skirts. You now finished installing your Madjax Ultimate Plus light kit designed for the EZ-GO RXV.